So Capcom is doing well. We've had multiple Resident Evil titles take off and do some big numbers, and the latest Monster Hunter has sold 8 million copies last I checked, and that was a while ago. Not to mention, the Marvel vs. Capcom collection was what everybody was asking for, and when it delivered, Capcom got its paycheck, which led to another collection that's on the way. A collection that has games that have been locked away for decades, being retouched and given to new and older audiences. And this is what we've been asking for. It shows that Capcom is listening and trying to do things new and old. Needless to say, they are thriving, but it wasn't always that way. The 2010s were rough for Capcom. There were a lot of big directional changes that really injured how Capcom operated. Resident Evil was having an identity crisis, there was no sign of Mega Man, and what we did here was soon scrapped, which led to a lot of disappointment for a lot of longtime fans. Monster Hunter was doing well, but it wasn't getting the attention it has now. It slowly had to build to that. And people were pissed with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It just wasn't what we wanted. And to add further salt into the wound, there was a new Devil May Cry, but the visual style had a total overhaul and even the character was changed, and people were pissed about that too, even though I heard it was a pretty good game. Capcom would luckily start to see a change when they announced the Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 7. These were big changes to Resident Evil, going back more into horror elements than to action elements, and it paid off a lot. This is where Capcom would start to come back from the ashes. Monster Hunter also did some big numbers with Monster Hunter World, and Mega Man 11 was fairly well received. It's kind of weird that we've not heard anything else from that franchise since then, but I think it's really just going through a lot of directional change and they're trying to find a director that'll really tackle the next game. Truth be told, I feel like Capcom is just being more upfront and honest with what they want to do. And I like that. I like when a game company says, hey, this is coming out and this isn't coming out. In their latest Pragmatik trailer, they basically said, we don't really know when it's coming out, but we're still making it. And I like that. I really liked when Nintendo said, hey, we know we announced Metroid Prime 4 at the start of the Switch, but it sucks. It sucks, dude. I'm sorry. We're going to get Retro Studios back in here and actually try to work on it. I like that. I think that's just brutal honesty, and I want to know what's going on. I don't care if you're reworking it. I just want to know that it's still happening and that you're still intending to work on these games. But I think what really gave it away that Capcom wanted to try more and do more were when they started putting out surveys. They asked the fans what they wanted to see more of, and there was a lot of selections. From Breath of Fire to Onimusha to Devil May Cry, really all of their franchises had a selection and people were able to say what they wanted. And I like that too. I like that a game company wants to know, hey, what do you want to make? And while I don't think that anything they make should always come down to fan input, I do think it helps and it does give us what we want. I just wish a certain other company would stop doing that. I'm looking at you, Atlas. Stop putting Snowboard Kids on the list if you're not going to make anything else Snowboard Kids. Just lay off the Persona for like 3 minutes, man, and just get me a freaking Snowboard Kids collection. And then I'll leave you alone. You can make all the Persona you want, I don't care. But going back to these surveys, we started to see some results with this. We got Dino Crisis on PSN, and they've really shown that they're trying to do new things and old things. Which brings us to our big thing today, Onimusha. Not only did they announce a new Onimusha, which I am both excited and a little scared for. I knew it was going to be a different direction, but I'm excited to see where it's going to go. I mean, I'm going to get it. I mean, you know, Onimusha guy, I only reviewed every Onimusha ever. I'm going to get it. But more importantly, and something I really would have never guessed, is that they announced that they're going to remaster Onimusha 2. And there's a few reasons I think that's a little weird. Namely because when they remastered the first one, it did poorly. And that's a little bit their fault because they did the bare minimum to advertise for it. I remember seeing one trailer and that was it. And it sucks because it was a pretty good deal. It was like $20 for a physical copy. I know I've got mine, but it just wasn't enough and it didn't do well. And I'm sure that for a while they reflected that people don't want to see Onimusha, when that was probably far from the truth. A lot of people just didn't know it came out. So it's surprising to see that we're getting an announcement for a Onimusha 2 remaster. And why is that important? What does it matter? Well, if you like Onimusha, like me, it matters a lot. It shows that they are taking a gamble and trying to bring back the franchise. I mean, and this is obvious with a new edition, but to remaster the old one when the first game really didn't take off, it's pretty impressive. And that's why I encourage you to get it, because not only is it getting remastered, it really looks like they're trying a lot with it. It looks like the textures and the backgrounds have been upgraded, and it looks like they're adding new playstyles. They're adding new things with the magic system, and per the last trailer, you can do multiple criticals the more you hit with it. So they're actually changing the system itself. And that's awesome. I want more of that. And I think this could be significant for Onimusha 2, because it would be nice to see it get some good results out of its sales. Because even back in the PS2 days, Onimusha 2 didn't meet the sales goals that were expected of it. And that's probably because they held it to the standards of what Onimusha 1 made. Onimusha 1 kind of made a lot of money, probably because it was close to the release of the PS2. But, you know, a year later or so, you're probably not going to get the same results. And just plain and simple, Onimusha 2 is amazing. I think I said in my review that while it's not my favorite, I think it really is the best one. The first one is my favorite for my own reasons, but I stand firm in believing that this is the best installment in the series. It has the most it's the most content rich. It's got a lot of weapons that feel really good. The hammer's the best feeling weapon in the game, in any game in my opinion. And honestly, I think from here, the weapon feel kind of goes down. I remember saying that too in my Onimusha 3 review. I like Onimusha 3, and I hope they remaster it too, but you're really going to have to sell some Onimusha 2 copies for that to happen, because I mean, that's Jean Renault money you got to pay for unless they just change his character model completely. And that'd be really funny, so I kind of want to see that happen too. But this is why we've got to support Onimusha 2. We've got to show that, you know, we want to see more of this, we like this, and they're really probably going to be focusing on these numbers, whether these things sell. This is why I hope this kind of goes well and goes into more sales like Breath of Fire and Dino Crisis. I guess what I'm really trying to say is play Onimusha 2, and I'm happy to see a company, especially Capcom, my most loved and hated company of all time, just trying to do good things. The economy sucks, but they are really trying to put out things that people want in all directions, and I think that's great. And you can't fault them this time. They've definitely tried to bring attention to the series. They had the Netflix series, which, in my opinion, it was alright. I mean, if you were going to make an Onimusha series, but we're a little wary about whether the fans liked it or not, that's a good way to go. It was a pretty coherent story. It was a little weird, but I thought it was alright. And then, you know, they announced a new game and a remaster of the old games, and I think they're even bundling it with the original, so once again, you really have your chances to play Onimusha if you've never played it before. For what it counts, I think I'm just happy to see Capcom trying this out, putting out old stuff and trying new stuff. I want to see more of it. And honestly, screw Onimusha 3. Screw Dawn of Dreams. I want that Blade Warriors remake. You know what I'm talking about? Put Mega Man in there. Put all the Mega Man in there.